Hello and welcome in to tonight's meeting. We're here to discuss the traffic calming plan for John Milton Drive. I want to welcome everyone in this evening, and we can go ahead and start with some introductions. My name is Nicole Machopway, and I am a Transportation Planner 2 with the RTAP Group and FCDOT. Along with me, I have Grace Vaughn, Ryan O'Carroll, and Neil Freshman and from FCDOT. Here tonight, we also have a representative from the Hunter Mill District Office, Paul Davis. If there are any members of the task force on tonight, we leave availability to you during the question and answers session to introduce yourselves and also say anything that you would like about the project moving forward. I wanted to reach out to Paul Davis if you had anything to say about the project moving forward.
No, we've been working with the community task force on implementation, and this is part of the normal process, and so just ready to go.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. All right, so I have a quick presentation to go through with everyone this evening. Once we're done with the presentation, then we can move on to questions and answers. So without further ado, like I said, good evening. We're here to talk about the traffic calming plan on John Milton Drive. I would like to note that this session is being recorded and may be shared on social media. Please hold all questions to the end of the presentation, and instructions on how to ask your questions will be provided at the end of the presentation. So today we are here to explain the traffic calming process, provide opportunity for community feedback, and answer any questions that you all might have. So let's start with what traffic calming is. Traffic calming is the installation of physical devices to reduce vehicle speed. These devices can be either vertical or horizontal. Vertical devices are driven over, such as speed humps showing in the upper left-hand image, while you drive around horizontal devices, as you can see as a raised median island in the upper right-hand image. Both devices make the road safer for pedestrians and drivers. Through this process, I would like to note that we are not permitted to install stop signs. Here we have charts and images showing the effect of decreased speed. As speed decreases, visual acuity, field of vision, and depth perception increase. Also, with the reduced speed, we can see a decrease in stopping distance and crash risk. Here we have a map showing the traffic calming projects throughout Fairfax County. There are over 266 projects, resulting in over 600 devices installed countywide. Every district has a device, so chances that you've driven over one are pretty high. I would also like to note that throughout all these projects, FCDOT and the District Supervisor's Office collaborates with citizens on all community-initiated projects. The upcoming program can be broken into 5 steps. Step number 1 is project initiation. Step number 2 is plan development. Step number 3 is community engagement. Step number 4 is ballot phase. And step number 5, which is the last step, project installation. So moving on to step number 1. As I said before, all traffic projects are always community initiated. The process begins with the request from the community to the supervisor's office. Once the request is received, FCDOT will first complete a basic eligibility review, then conduct a traffic study. Once it passes both eligibility review and traffic study, the community will then form a task force. For qualifications, there are eligibility requirements that need to be met. So the road needs to be a VDOT maintained road, have a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit, be functionally classified as local, collector, or arterial. And if it's a collector or arterial, it needs to be a residential street. Once passing the basic eligibility review requirements, we move to conduct a traffic study. For the volume criteria, we need between 500 to 6,000 vehicles in 24 hours, both directions combined. So for John Milton Drive, we had 2,443, so we met the volume criteria. For speed criteria, the recorded 85th percentile needs to be greater than or equal to 35 miles per hour. So what this means is that 15% of vehicles need to be traveling 35 miles per hour or faster in at least one direction of travel. So for the 85th percentile, we found on John Milton Drive in the eastbound lane was 35, and likewise in the westbound lane, it was 35 as well. So we met the speed criteria. So after passing both basic eligibility and traffic study, we can move on to step 2, which is plan development. First, FCDOT will conduct a site visit in the field in order to develop a draft plan. Once that draft plan has been developed, FCDOT will meet with the task force to obtain feedback and amend the plan if necessary. Once the task force is satisfied with the draft plan, homeowners directly adjacent to any proposed measures will need to sign off on the placement of the device in order for us to move on to the next step. There are device placement requirements for typical vertical devices. We need a minimum of 300 feet between measures and existing stopping conditions. We need a minimum of 150 feet from any intersection. We need a minimum of 150 feet for continuous sight distance with any device. And it has to fit on the existing roadway. So we have to count any manholes, utilities, driveways, and also account for the grade of the road. So based on available options and site visit, FCDOT is able to propose 2 speed humps on John Milton Drive. The addresses listed in the blue boxes are the ones who signed off on the adjacent property forms, since the device is directly adjacent to their homes. Here we have a speed hump schematic. Speed hump is 12 feet long and 3 inches high at center. There will be white chevrons in each travel lane and a speed hump signs with recommended speed of 15 miles per hour on either side of the device. So step 3, this is a community meeting, where we're here today. This is where FCDOT presents the plan for the community to obtain feedback. Based on the feedback, the task force will decide whether they want to amend the plan or proceed to the next phase. If the task force decides to move forward, we can move forward to ballot phase. Step number 4, so ballot phase. Each household in the ballot area will receive 1 vote and sends that directly to the supervisor's office. The ballot time period will be open for a minimum of 3 weeks. And the supervisor's office will tally the votes and notify the task force of the results. Okay, so here we have an example of the ballot. The proposed devices will be listed on the ballot and the community will be voting on the entire plan. The task force is responsible for distributing the ballot packages to everyone in the ballot area. There are 3 ways to return your ballot by the deadline. So one, you can mail in your ballot directly to the supervisor's office. You can hand deliver it directly to the supervisor's office. Or the third one, you can email directly to the supervisor's office. Would like to note that ballots should not be returned to the task force. So please use one of the 3 methods listed above. Okay, so here we have the ballot area map for John Milton Drive. There are 208 ballots. In order for the proposed plan to move forward, we need greater than 50% of all households to vote in favor. So we will need 105 yes votes in order for the plan to move forward. So moving on to step 5, if we get the right number of yes votes required, we can move forward with project installation. The traffic calming plan will be presented to the to the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors for endorsement, and the resolution will be sent to VDOT. Once endorsed and VDOT accepts the plan, FCDOT will work with the Department of Public Works and Environmental Services to schedule installation. And finally, the devices will be installed. So after tonight's meeting, the task force will need to follow the next steps. So step number 1, the task force determines and notifies Fairfax County if they would like to move forward with a plan that was presented at tonight's meeting. Step number 2, the task force and supervisor's office will decide and notify FCDOT if the ballots in the ballot area are to be distributed to the homeowners or occupants. Step 3, the task force will receive a ballot cover letter and will complete the form as directed by FCDOT. Step 4, the task force sends the completed ballot cover letter to FCDOT for approval. Once approved, they will receive the verified ballot package. And lastly, the final step will be the task force needs to print and distribute all the ballots to all the homes in the ballot area. Okay, so this finishes the presentation off. Now we can move on to questions and answer session. We have 2 options for you. You can either chat or speak. Once the chat item is activated on Teams, you can use it by typing in your question. And if you want to speak, please click the raise hand icon so that you will be unmuted once it's your turn. If you do choose to speak, please be sure all pop-up blockers and your browser on your browser are turned off, and that your microphone is connected and turned on. The host will send you an allow notification to be unmuted. Please click allow to allow your mic to be unmuted. We will send you an unmute request twice before you will be asked to go to the chat. We have had some issues in the past with this, so please bear with us, and we thank you for your patience. If you are calling by phone, please push *5 to raise your hand. When it is your turn, the host will call on you to ask your question. You will need to push *6 to unmute, and after you're finished with your question, please push *5 to unraise your hand. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Nicole. I see a first hand from Jill. Jill, I'm going to send you a request to unmute your mic, and that should be coming your way.
Okay.
So, am I the only one who couldn't see the presentation?
Jill, are you calling in by phone, or are you signed in online?
I'm on an iPad.
Okay, so that might be a connection issue. I'm not sure.
It's not a connection issue, and might I advise that in the future, before you dig 100% into the presentation, that you have the courtesy to say, okay, can everybody see my first slide?
Okay, duly noted. So yes, we also are. Are
you going to mail? Can you email it out to people who participated?
Yes, ma'am. So what we do, like I said before, we are recording this presentation, and also we have a PDF of all the slides that we are going to send to the supervisor's office, so that can be distributed as well.
Okay, so since I couldn't see anything, and by the way, did everybody else see it?
We will have to, if others could join in, maybe in the chat or raise your hand, that would be great to see if we did.
All right, I'm seeing some thumbs going up. Okay, So since I couldn't see it, can you, since I live on John Milton Drive, could you please tell me the two addresses of where the speed humps are going to be?
Yeah, so the first speed hump coming from Fox Mill, off of Fox Mill, you're going to run into the one that we have proposed is going to be at several different addresses, but we have 2521, 2572, and 2574 John Milton. So that is the first location that we're proposing.
So I'm sorry, help me understand. Does that mean you pick one of those, or are you just saying that it's sort of adjacent to all three of those homes?
It's adjacent to all three of those, just because of the location that we're able to put it at. Okay. And then we have the second speed hump that we're proposing on John Milton Drive. So that is going to be at 2624, 2625 John Milton Drive.
Okay. And did I hear at one point that you said these are only 12 feet long? Did I?
Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. So they're 12.
So they're like ideally for one lane. Is that the idea?
Oh, so no, that's the, so they're going to be the whole width of the lane. They're going to span the whole width of the lane or the road. So it's going to be both lanes. So the 12 feet is just when let's say the tire hits the edge of that device and crossing over it. So they're going to cross over 12 feet. So that's why we mean 12 feet long in that direction. And then they're going to be 3 inches high at the center.
Okay, so now I'm going to branch a different way on this conversation. And thank you for giving me the key points. I live at 2582. Mm-hmm. It is directly opposite where Quincy Adams hits John Milton. Okay. There is a lot of pedestrian traffic. People going to the shopping center, coming from the shopping center, going to the gyms, going to medical appointments in the office building. And we have no crosswalks. And just as recently as a few days ago, I stepped out, and to cross. And the woman, I gave the driver in the SUV a dirty look because she didn't stop. And she said, "What are you looking at me like that for? There's no crosswalk here." So is there any chance as part of this, we could also get crosswalks painted, please?
Okay. Yeah, so through the RTAP process, we are not a part of installing crosswalks. Our active transportation group, you can reach out to them or reach out to Paul and Paul Davis in the Hunter Mill District, and he can speak with them about maybe implementing a crosswalk.
Okay, how do I get in touch with Paul?
Okay, we do have his contact information, and we can give it out at the end of the presentation. We do have the Hunter Mill District contact information.
All right, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to send the next request to unmute to Stephen. Stephen, I'll send you a request to unmute your mic right now. All right, Stephen, I'm gonna try you one more time. So I took it away and sent it to you again. So hopefully it's popping up for you.
Okay, so Stephen, if you're unable to get the mic working on your end, or if it's an area where you can't see that, I would, like I said, just make sure that your pop-up blockers are turned off. You're welcome to write in the chat, and we definitely appreciate your patience. So if you're wanting to type in the chat, that's great. If we'll go ahead and move on to some other people's questions, and then we'll resort back to you if you're able to get that working.
Okay, thank you, Stephen and Nicole. Jim, I'm going to send you a request to unmute your mic. That should be coming your way right now.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. My question is, it seems like 3 inches is not very high. So why not make it 6 inches? Something where someone's going to need to slow down.
Mm-hmm. So these are actually VDOT standards of the devices that they're are allowing us to install on their roads. So we do have to base it off of a standard. So that is the 3 inches high at standard. I would like to note that the aggressiveness of the speed hump when you from the time you enter onto it and the time you exit off of it does have that quite not as aggressive as high, but it does require a car to definitely slow down.
You know, I live on the corner of John Milton Drive and Fox Mill Road.
Mm-hmm.
And people come speeding around the corner. They got their Farfignugan going and they try to see how fast they can turn around that corner and race down the street. So I don't know. I hope 3 inches does some good.
So this is Neil Freshman. Let me break in here for a minute, and that is the recommended speed for vehicles to traverse these speed humps is 15 miles per hour. And we have these in a lot of locations, and they really do stop. They really do slow down traffic. The idea of going to a speed bump is not allowed by VDOT on a VDOT road. So the type of, high bump that you would see in a parking lot is not something we can put on a VDOT road.
Okay. Well, thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I don't see any questions in chat. So Stephen, I am going to try you again and see if I can get this to work for you. I just sent it your way, so hopefully that's popping up. Like Nicole said, if you want to type in chat, that might be best. And I think we'll move to Elizabeth, and I'll see if she's able to unmute her mic.
You want to try one more time?
Yeah, Elizabeth, I just sent you another request, so it should be popping up for you.
I keep seeing Elizabeth's mic coming on and then off almost immediately. Well, actually, is Stephen unmuted right now?
Okay, so if you are having issues, and like I said, we are having a little bit of the connectivity between our side and your side of trying to get unmuted. You can call in by phone and have that as well. We're working on getting that to you guys. If you did receive the flyer, it does have instructions on how to call in as well to the meeting, and we'll try to put that in chat for you. But if you feel free, I think Stephen did write in his question, and Elizabeth is saying she can't unmute. So if we want to revert to chat right now. Oh, Stephen says move on. I'm sorry. Sorry, Stephen, for that.
All right, it looks like we have one question from Janice here in the chat. She asked, what kind of data do you have that shows speed humps will slow people down as she's witnessed near accidents?
Okay, so we do have follow-up data. We don't do it for all roads. When we do the follow-up, it's generally by request, but that data shows that the roads do not tend to re-qualify for the program. So typically it doesn't slow them below the speed limit or to the speed limit, but it will definitely, we're seeing a number of, or an average, shall we say, of cars or vehicle speed reducing so it doesn't qualify for the traffic calming program again. And Neil, if you have more to say on that, please feel free.
Yeah, so let me just expand on that. So what Nicole is saying is that when we do follow-up studies where we've installed traffic calming, we generally find that the speeds are low enough after we install them that they fall below the threshold to do traffic calming. So it actually worked to bring the speed, the 85th percentile speed, down from above the threshold to below. So it varies based on the plan and based on the location, how much speed reduction we will get, but we generally see some speed reduction.
Thank you, Neil. Next question we have in the chat is from Elizabeth. She says, do speed humps decrease response time on emergency vehicles?
So we're seeing a response time, depending on the number of devices that the emergency response has to go over. It could be anywhere between 3 to 10 seconds per device. Like I said, just depending on.
Thank you. And then the next question in the chat is from Janice, and she asks, when should residents expect the materials, and if passed, how long after will work begin?
Okay, so the materials for the ballot, after this meeting, like I said, the task force will decide whether they want to move forward. If the task force decides to move forward with a plan, we will work on getting the ballot material to them. There's some, like I said, steps that need to be taken. The task force will need to receive the ballot cover letter, fill in that ballot cover letter, send it back to us. We approve of it and then send them material. Once they receive that material, will be their responsibility to print out and distribute. So they will distribute. They have several different ways they can hand deliver it or mail it out to the residents within the ballot area. Once you do receive the ballot, like I said, the ballot will be open for a minimum of 3 weeks. So after that date on the ballot is marked and the receive by date is marked, and it passes, if it passes the ballot period, we will then move forward with the process. And so typically it takes after that, when we get it to DPWES for installation, that could take up to 4 to 8 months when we get it to DPW. So On average, we're looking about, I would say, 9 months, 9 to 10 months to installation time. That's also very weather dependent, and it's also very dependent on when the task force decides to start balloting. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Nicole. Next question we have in the chat is from Elizabeth, and she said, do speed humps increase air pollution?
There is no data that we have for that.
And then the next question in the chat is from Steve, and he asks, why isn't there any speed hump going down the hill from Oliver Cromwell to Marston Moore?
Okay, so through this process, like I said, we do have device placement requirements. We have to be 300 feet from a stop sign. We have to be 150 feet from an intersection. We then propose to the task force the plan, and then the task force goes to obtain signatures from the homeowners directly adjacent. And if I remember correctly, we were unable to get homeowner approval in that location as we move forward.
Okay, next question we have here is from Rona, and they're asking, how effective do you expect this to be if the original plan called for 3 speed humps and only 2 are being proposed now?
Okay, so the effectivity of the speed humps, yes, we would prefer the plan to have a bit of more of consistency. Unfortunately, we were not able to obtain that. However, we do expect this locations to reduce the speed near the locations we're proposing. And hopefully that will also change the pattern of the cars or the drivers as they go throughout the community.
Okay, thank you, Ryan and Nicole. I see some more hands. I'm gonna send a request for Janice to unmute.
Yes, now that I finally see the layout, I'm sorry, but it is just one speed hump and it's I'm on John Milton Drive. And so it's between 72 and 74, the house, 2572. So it's between the 2 entrances into the shopping center.
Yes, ma'am, it is. So we have that one on the closest location that we're proposing to Fox Mill. And then on the other side of John Milton, closer to, I believe that is Viking, we have another location at 2624 and 2625 that we're proposing as well.
Oh, great. We need it. We need to slow this traffic down, and I live right at 2570. And I was just concerned about the speed humps at the shopping center because I've got all the trucks that come in and service the shopping center, and just hearing them go over those speed bumps that are already in the shopping center is really annoying. And I just didn't want to have too many more out on the street in front of me too, because they're big tractor and trailers going over them. But we need it, so I'm happy, and the distance seems good.
Okay. Well, thank you, Janice. And I believe you did have a question about bikes. I'm not sure if we got that question answered for you.
That was not me.
Oh, that's different Janice. Okay.
Other Janice on there too. No, that wasn't. But yeah, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Okay, I think Jill had her hand raised as well. Jill, I'm gonna send you a request to unmute your mic.
Okay, so you're going to tell me this isn't your job, but I'm going to respond to Janice anyhow, is that as far as the semis go, I think we need, and if those of you on the phone from the various boards or representatives have the answer, we need to get the semis off of John Milton and onto McLaren and force them to come in via the other entrance. That other entrance, there are not residents opposite it. The only other entrance on that block of McLaren, aside from the shopping center, is a church driveway. So if somebody could advise us on whom we need to reach out to try to persuade that would be helpful, please. But my other real frustration is one individual who happens to live between Oliver Cromwell and Marston Moor gets to kill a speed bump for everybody else. How does that work?
So the actual device, we do need to obtain the homeowner's approval since that device is going to be directly adjacent to their home. So the way the procedures go and the way that we have our operations and through VDOT as well, we need to get that homeowner's acceptance to have that device directly adjacent to their home, and acceptance of the signs and the device that would be installed.
And you were sure you were talking to a homeowner and not a renter?
Well, we do only accept homeowners as is on tax records. So we do verify that as well. And we do help the task force locate the homeowner if it's a different address so they can send that a form along to the appropriate person.
Well, that's most discouraging. Hey, do you know if the speed humps, tables, whatever they are, on Viking, I don't know if Viking's a VDOT road. I'm guessing
Yes, it is.
So are the ones there only 3 inches? Because to my eye, they look higher than 3 inches. So I'm wondering if they're comparable or if you might know.
So we did install those quite a few years ago. So those have been installed by the county, I do believe. I'll have to look into that, whether it was VDOT installed or county installed. But I believe they were done to the same standards as the devices that we have today. They just are older, so they may not, look or feel like some of the newer devices that are going in.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And for the through truck or truck inquiry, Neil, I don't know if you have any insight on that or where we could possibly direct her with her concern.
I guess I would ask Paul for help there. To me, that sounds like something working with the shopping center owners. If there is a different way for them to commit to access their property, but I don't know of any way to prevent trucks from accessing at that location other than the cooperation of the shopping center.
Why don't we put up a no trucks allowed?
Okay. So if that's all of the questions, we answered all of them, we can go ahead and move on to others if there's more questions.
Yes, it looks like there's one in the chat from Elizabeth right now, and she's asking, is there an option to try for a third speed hump and modify the location from the original position? She's maybe asking if there are other homeowners that would support a speed hump.
Yeah, so I think we went through this process and we did try to find a different location. Unfortunately, with the spacing requirements that we do have to abide by, we did not have much wiggle room in that location. So unfortunately, the device still ended on some of the homeowners that were in disagreement with the device going in front of their home. So unfortunately, that's a good thought, but we went through that process. Thank you, though.
Okay, thank you, Nicole. I see Elizabeth has her hand raised. I'm not sure if we answered your question there, but I'll send you a request to unmute your mic regardless. It looks like Elizabeth said we had answered her question.
We are having people write in chat if they have any questions.
Do you see the question about the bicycles? Just came back from Janice Healy.
Yes.
Basically, Janice is asking if the speed humps will slow the bicycle club down. Frankly, I do not have information on the impact of speed humps on bicycles. If anyone, Nicole, do you have anything on that?
So we don't have anything that is like data collected or proven, but you would have to go over the devices as you're riding, just as you would if you were in a vehicle. But we have not heard or heard from other communities that it has been an issue to slow bicyclists down. But I can look further into that with Steve and see if we can get back on that question.
The only information I can give is anecdotal, personal information. I do ride my bike. There is a neighborhood with speed humps. I personally slow down going over a speed hump because it's uncomfortable, but I can't guarantee what's the impact going to be for aggressive bicycle clubs.
Okay, thank you, Neil and Nicole. I think we have another hand from Janice. Janice, I'm going to send you a request to allow your mic.
Thank you. I just want to applaud Jill for all of her wonderful questions, and I'm glad she's my neighbor.
Okay, thank you. I think we have read all the questions so far in chat, and I'm not seeing any new hands, but I'll give everybody some time to type or decide they want to raise their hand. And I'm seeing something from Jill. So Jill, I'll send you a request to allow your mic.
Sorry, thanks, Janice, but I should have asked this one earlier. So when this balloting process starts, is there a way that, I think I saw there's 25 participants and, at least 5 of you are not residents, okay? So maybe there's 20 residents on the phone. Is there any way that we can kind of influence and carry around ballots and get neighbors to sign, grassroots effort? What'd you say? I think you said we needed 100, no, I wrote it down, 100 and so many, 105.
Yeah.
And can we influence that?
So Jill, are you on the task force? Forgive me, I don't remember if your name was on there. Okay. So the task force is responsible, and that will be up for the task force if they want to include you as task force member. What we'll have them do is distribute them. You're always welcome to go in and let the community know that this process is going through version and that traffic calming is being considered. You're always welcome to do that. We do recommend that when it comes to balloting, the homeowner should be returning that to the district supervisor's office. So once ballots are distributed to the homeowners, they then will send that directly to the supervisor's office. So that will be, from task force to the supervisor, or to the homeowner, then to the supervisor's office. But we always recommend that communities let our people within the community, let others know that this is going on, and that this information will be available, and that it will, if the task force decides to move forward, it will be balloted on.
Okay, couple other silly questions. U.S. mail, do they have to buy their own stamp?
So that is up to the task force as well. Some task forces provide that when they do mail it out, but that is directly on the task force's responsibility. So if the task force does not decide to, then that would be up to, if you want to mail your ballot directly to the supervisor's office, that would be up to you. Do keep in mind that we do allow email balloting. So, you can scan in or take a picture of that ballot and send it to the district supervisor's office via email, so you don't have to get that stamp.
Okay, and is it a safe assumption that these emails are basically going to the residents of John Milton and the various courts off of them? That's who the ballots will go to, I mean?
Yes, ma'am. So we only provide the ballot information as I'm not sure if you can see our screen, but the ballot area. So I'm showing the ballot area map right now. All the houses in the yellow are within the ballot area. We will provide that address list. So if the task force chooses to send out those ballots via mail, they will be going to only the homes in the ballot area. If ballots are received by others' addresses outside of the ballot area, they will not be counted.
Okay, final comment before you silence me. Who's ever on the task force, if you need my help with any of this, let me know.
Thank you very much.
All right, it looks like we have a question from Rona asking, will the stop sign at John Milton and Marston Moore stay in place?
Yes. So we do not work within stop signs. That's going to be under VDOT. So when we design the plan, we design it with the stop signs in place. So therefore, that when we do placement or have to abide by placement requirements for each device, we have to be 300 feet from any stop sign. So that's kind of how we design our plan, is to work off of the physical or signs that are already located on the road.
Okay, I'm seeing a hand from Steven. Steven, I'm going to send you a request to unmute your mic, and it just came to you, or should have gone to you. And I think you maybe just put your hand down. Oh, or maybe it's back up.
Okay. Steven, sorry, we're still having connectivity issues. Feel free, like I said, to write in chat. Grace, I don't know if you want to send one more time just to try.
Yeah, I'll send one more right now.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. And we do have somebody, I think, that just wrote in chat as well.
Okay, this looks like a more comment from Elizabeth. She says, I personally think people will continue to speed after the stop sign until they hit the speed hump near the shopping center. She lives on John Milton Drive and witnesses this every day.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and as I did cover for the task force, the next steps, just to notify the FCDOT or the district, so Paul, how you would like to proceed, if you'd like to proceed to ballot phase. And then you guys will be deciding on whether you want the ballots to go to homeowners or occupants. And then we can move forward with the process. And as I stated before, this meeting is being recorded. If you registered for this meeting and provided an email, you should have the recording sent to you via email through Teams. If we have other members of the community that were not able to attend, we will try to make this recording available as soon as possible. We then will provide that recording to the Hunter Mill District Office once we have it already. So I would say probably a week or two that we should have this available to also have anybody review it outside of Teams. Also, if you have any questions after this meeting and you weren't able to get them answered this time, or think of further questions as we go through the process, you can reach out to FCDOT via email at dotinfo@fairfaxcounty.gov and put the subject line John Milton Drive traffic calming, or you can call 703-877-5600 and ask to speak to someone about the John Milton Drive traffic calming. And or you can reach out to the Hunter Mill District Office via email at huntermill@fairfaxcounty.gov with the same subject line, John Milton Drive traffic calming. Or you can call the Hunter Mill District Office at 703-478-0283. Okay, and we can leave it open for just a couple more minutes to see if anybody's writing in chat or has further questions.
Yeah, it looks like we just got a comment from Stephen saying, suggesting a crosswalk at John Milton near Oliver Cromwell to be repainted to become more pronounced.
Okay, thank you for that. And I would also recommend reaching out to the Hunter Mill District Office to see if you can get that a request pushed through to VDOT.
Janice, I can send you a request to allow your mic.
Thank you. Talking about the walk cross, I would think every opening into the shopping center should have a crosswalk, because I live right across from the shopping center, and it is very difficult to cross there because of the people coming in and coming out. So if they're going to do crosswalk for pedestrian, I would love to have one across from me.
Okay, thank you. And like we stated before, I would definitely reach out to Paul or the Hunter Mill District Office to start that process.
Great. There's not enough. There's very few here to begin with. So, And we are in front of the shopping center, and what are the people doing? Walking there. So it would be very grand. It would, I'm one of them. So it would be great.
Okay. Well, thank you. Mhm. Okay, so if we're not seeing any more questions coming in the chat or comments or any other hands raised, I believe we can call it a night. Grace, do we have any more coming in if you can see?
Jason just raised his hand, so let me.
Okay, perfect.
So this is Jason Bunton. I'm actually on the task force, and I think my name was and contact info was included in the cover letter, the information that was sent out. So please, if anybody that's still on the line, I think a lot of people have dropped off by now, but if anybody has questions or comments, I've been taking notes on the various comments so far, but I think Jill in particular offered to help out with the process. So definitely get back to me if you're interested in being involved. That's it.
Perfect. Thank you, Jason. Okay. I guess we will call it an evening. I hope everyone has a great and safe evening. And like I said, please contact us if you have any questions. Hope everyone has a good night.
Thank you, everyone.